Shalom, everybody. It's that time again. It's our Monday study time. I hope everybody's doing great. I hope everybody was blessed on Sabbath. Those that know exactly what I'm talking about, the Lord's Day that we are to, keep holy, where we don't have to work. That was a day off given to us so that we can rest in Him, and to come together in our gatherings and fellowship and just say all the good things He does for us and praise Him on the given day that He's put for Him to be with us. It was created for us to enjoy. Until then, for those that don't know what it is about Sabbath, hopefully you are picking up little hints here and there as to where we're going to get to in knowing of that set apart day, the day that will become into a commandment that we're supposed to keep, and that it's still existent for today. Of course, everything that I say is all down the road, but eventually I hope to even bring out as to how man, switched it up. And now there is a wide range of deceit out there in many different denominations as to holding the wrong set apart day. But of course, we'll get there. But the starting point of that clue as to Father being the first example for what He's given to man is where we see Him during His creation. 6 days He worked. On the seventh day, we saw where He rested, and that's where it's at. And then, of course, let's recap before we go on, and we can see where man starts to become much more corrupt. So much so that Father was even sad that He even thought to even make something so beautiful for Himself to enjoy and for creation to enjoy the Creator, but where we see the starting point of where man starts to me, I feel, where man starts to do their own free will or start to fail at listening to Father's commandments. Of course, it starts off in the Garden of Eden, where sadly, the beguile that happened by the serpent to Adam and Eve, Eve biting and then offering to her husband. That's where it starts there. But then, of course, those that have me on Facebook will know more or less where I got even much more of an insight after reading what I read with everybody. It's like something meditating with Father and speaking to Him in my mind, and having these thoughts, because I after I read, I go on thinking on what I've read with Him and talk with Him more on wow, this also seems to fit with such and such area, and just the conversations that you can have with Father, and He just keeps giving you more and more insights. And I don't know how accurate half of the time I am with where I'm coming with Him, but that's the beauty with having a relationship with Father, is that He does end up confirming it, as you keep on reading and you keep on strengthening your desire of reading. Then more and more understanding by Him comes along. He'll even bring it through confirmations through other pastors, other ministers that you gather with, and they possibly don't even know where you were at one point in your reading, and you kept that question in your mind, stored away, and then all of a sudden they'll say something where it's like it revives exactly what you had, or what you possibly even wrote on a journal, and they answered that one question that you had stored away, only bringing that much more of the insight that you're questioning, Father, like, is this so? Am I right? Is my thought right? Because that's where we can look at Father's own words where he says our ways are not his ways, and most of the time when we don't look into a lot of things from where he's coming from, and to do a thorough research to what he's saying, we can make our own version of what we are thinking he's saying, when truly there's a lot of tools out there that will show us exactly what he is saying. And we do need to get into using those more often, and I do on my own time. I know I barely pull out every now and then with you all, but I'm so new to this Septuagint that hopefully I don't just stop here, from the Septuagint. And as long as Father keeps me here and keeps me, breathing, and until I'm, put to sleep, then I will keep on going to a different version of the Bible and see, read all over again with everybody. And that's what it is, just constant searching, reading, and then, still use the tools that come along with those books. I don't know, it's a relationship with him is just, it's beautiful, we just got to do it. But going back to where I kind of feel like where men stopped hearing from Father and then started, I guess, kind of voicing their own opinions. Like I said, if we don't truly hear what Father's saying, we can make him up to ourselves, and we can say, in a sense, by false teaching, by false prophesying, in a sense, thus saith Father, when he hasn't told us. And of course, we'll see those type of words where he's showing us where men's hearts have gone, and where they start to say, thus saith Father, thus saith the Lord, and yet he never told them. But where I started picking up, besides of the fact that, like I said, the fall of man, Adam and Eve, not that they said, you said, but of course they put it on the enemy who did beguile them. What came to me after I read last with you all, when we were recapping, I had talked about like Lamech, and Lamech, that's where we see where the multiple wives started to come in, and that's where another area of where men's hunger, lust, starts to be seen and to grow. We see where Adam and Eve kind of looked like they wanted to be on the same knowledge of Father, or, become as gods, is what he tried to say it to make them fall. Whatever he can see that what is at your interest, he's going to use it against you to get you to fall, because he wants us to disobey Father. He wants us to be, lost. He wants us to face the punishments like he was. He was kicked out of heaven. And so he wants us to also face consequences and punishments just as much as he can. But anyways, then when I started thinking on Lamech, where the two wives came in, and then, like I said, if you have me on Facebook, you'll see where more of my insight came to a question with Father. I always put it out there, but I always put my best efforts forward before him, because I feel like I'm ministering just to him. Of course, in front of you all, to study with everybody and to be an encouragement out there, even though I'm not live to study with anybody. nor is anybody here. But I still feel like if this best effort is getting, you to study along with me, or to encourage you to study for yourselves. But as I was thinking on that, on Lamech, to me it kind of seemed like that's where man starts to look at the punishments of others, and then wants to try to get away with things themselves, and start to voice for Father, or to kind of like hold it against Father. Like if they were to do something, then we should get just as pardoning, a slap on the hand, something like that, just because such and such person already had done it. And so I kind of felt like that's where I was seeing it with Lamech's situation. And then, I don't know, just twisting up what Father did not give him a right to say. Everything's recorded. You can see where Father is voicing, and who he's talked to, and what he said to them. And then you see where some are possibly that voice of saying, if Father said, if this one person got it, well, then he says it to me also. And you have to know that he will say it directly to you if that's the case. But we have his laws now to examine exactly what he says for us, and to do and not to do. So we can't make up what we wish he is saying to us. I hope all this is making sense, but I'm recapping at the same time as what I'm trying to get at, on the point of where Father was just sad of making the creation, because it stopped. They stopped hearing. Corruption started to get worse, and they stopped hearing the voice of Father. But yeah, it takes me to the start of, well, of course, Adam and Eve, and then Lamech. And then, because we're already on chapter 8, I think. All the clean livestock, and from other clean birds. Oh, I'm just trying to find if we were on chapter 8 or on chapter 9. I think we're on 9, though. Yeah, because I think that's when we saw where Noah made an offering to Father, and that pleased Father, and that he wouldn't destroy mankind, because he just knows the heart is like, it's wicked. But up until that point, we got to see, like I said, where sin, just increased. It got bad during Noah's time. And now we're at this point to where now Noah, it's just Noah and his family. And we got to see kind of like almost like a reset, and to see if how it would go now with this starting point of the family of Noah, and see if it does much better. But yeah, those are just my thoughts as we read it already. Just some insights before we get started. Okay. during, was it yesterday? I think it was yesterday or the day before. I hope you all can hear me because I do have my cooler on and it can be a loud thing. So I'm hoping that uh, if, that you can all hear me. And if unable to, I hope that one of you will reach out to me because I know I have gotten text messages before when certain of my recordings weren't able to be heard due to the fact that I didn't push the record button right or unmute the mic. So I'm glad that that was helpful. I had to record myself. But if I'm unable to be heard, I hope that those that are watching and following along will reach out to me again and let me know because I do have my cooler on. It's so hot. And sometimes I try to not put it on just to save a little bit on the build part, but let me know. But what came to me yesterday or the day before, and I thought to say it now because I am part of this Bible Academy, where we all come together, and I'm being trained on how to look, really use the tools that are there for me to understand the word. Because from where I came from, in the knowledge that I got from my previous faiths, my religious groups out there, religious faiths, I was nowhere close where my relationship with Father is today. I thought I knew him. I did. I thought I knew him. I was so far from knowing him, doing practices that, like I said, where we want to put our own take to what Father has said of another and twist it for ourselves, like a Lamech situation. He took what was said to Noah, what should have been more of like a conviction kind of thing, something to like look at Lamech looking at Cain's, correction there, Cain's situation and seeing that he was remorseful for what he came to doing. But no, it seemed like Lamech's pride was the one that got him to, twist up Father's justice for himself, so that way he can, I don't know, go on feeling like he's okay in the eyes of Father still. And that's kind of how I see it with where I came from, the religious groups that I came from. I didn't know, we twisted up the words of Father to suit our justifications to our beliefs, what we want to believe him by, what we want to make him out to be, without fully examining truly to what he says and the whole situation at hand, And so, yeah. So in the academy, I've been, in this training thing, and having learned about like baptism, even, it's a very big deal. And now, from what I know now, because I've gone through the training, I haven't really put myself out there to like offer to be baptized, because now through those that have trained me, they feel I'm good to start working Father's kingdom business, to get others, to come and want to, follow Messiah, take up their cross and follow him and give themselves over to him. But before I do that, I want to encourage more that it comes from what I learned in the academy, comes from the heart. The baptism starts there, before just going into the water and doing it out of just like it feels good to do so, you know. But it starts off with your relationship by the heart. Everything's by the changing of the heart first. And so I haven't put that out there. And so, I was in thoughts yesterday with Father, and I feel more at saying, it's not to say that I'm not available for those that might be feeling ready, here in my local area, New Mexico, specific wise, Baird, so if you're around the area and you kind of feeling your Father's calling you and you're doing all that he's showing you that you ought to be as a follower, by all means, reach out to me. I am on Facebook. I can be found. I am in the HOI Academy. I can be found there. I'm on WhatsApp. And I don't mind being there to witness your giving to Father, by baptism, and to be that helping hand to be, be there to dunk you and to be that witness as well. But I just, for those that are barely coming into even making your way to reading, I do say, take your time first. Let your heart get cleansed. Let it go through that dunking that it needs, the whole way through, read, thoroughly examine what Father's saying, what he expects out of you as a follower, with his Son's name, and not just his Son's name, but himself, because when I came to finally knowing and understanding, I misrepresented him bad, before I got to this point. And it's shameful for me, it's embarrassing even when you get to really see how much you won me. Didn't do him well. I didn't represent him well. But I'm so glad that with his love through long suffering, I'm seeing, like the last time I pointed out Psalm 103, that he doesn't give us according to his quick anger, if he's slow to anger, the punishments that we deserve. Like I said, I pointed out with Cain, he could have wiped him out quick. He could have wiped out Adam and Eve quick. But something within Father, I feel, where he looks at the situation and he's like, just thinking on myself, when I look at certain situations where I could be quick to snap at something, and I just take my moment to like really look at the circumstances before I just go with what quick reaction would come, at it. Eventually I change the how do you say it, the consequence. There we go. I change the consequence, like with my children. I have set rules in my own house, and I expect to be obeyed. And when they've done according to exactly what I said, do not do, I tend to wonder, okay, especially if it's like their very first time having done what I told them not to do, I play out like, did they really know when I told them that this thing could happen, or is it being the first time they didn't know? That's why they tried it. It's the curiosity kills the cat kind of thing. It's their first time. And so then now having that understanding what they've done, now, okay, I could give them the quick reaction that I told them, if you did this, I'm going to do this. But when I really sit down and think, okay, well, they didn't really know what they did. But now, having done what they've done, what I said not to, they have that understanding now. Don't repeat it, But I still give them a punishment or a consequence because they still went ahead and did what I told them not to do. They should have just known not to do it. But for whatever reason, that temptation, that, I don't know, curiosity gets the better of us sometimes. But anyways, that's just my take on trying to encourage anybody that's coming into finally giving a moment, with the word, it can be a long moment, but giving that moment to grow in full understanding of what it is to come into baptism, and doing it, by the water, but getting cleansed, and hearing what Father is all about, that type of baptism. Read, let Him cleanse you, let Him show you what it is that He desires. And at the end of it, when you feel like, what He asks of us is not hard. And when you kind of come to seeing that, a lot of people made it hard due to just selfish ambitions or selfish pleasures, then you kind of see, well, it was never really Him. It was the people, and He shows you, and then you can read all of them, and you're just like, what got you to do that, But like I said, then it starts to make you retract your own steps before you got to this point. Like, you kind of you weren't that different from them, so it becomes relatable, and then you kind of see where, like, wow, Father, darn, I was that type of person before you, and I'm so sorry. It starts to work that humbleness out, and that regret and that remorse, and now you're telling Him, I could do better. I could do better. It becomes a different thing when you finally understand it all, and you know exactly that it's easy to serve Him, and then you go get dunked. You go and do, you give yourself to Him through the water, like the physical, not just the changed heart, but the physical, and then you revert back to doing what He said not to do. It's kind of like what I told you about, like the consequences of my children. You've already come to that full understanding. Now He deals with us much more differently. Being baptized the right way through His Son's name, representing Him and His Son before Him, then it becomes a different matter of punishments. And that's where it can become very dangerous. So I just want to encourage everybody to take their time. And I want to encourage those that possibly have been there, or are there, where you're slipping or you've backslidden, knowing what what Father is about, and you're baptized the right way and everything, but you're fallen. But you can, if you still have breath in you, you can come back. You can come back from it. So that's just my prayer. My prayer before I get into prayer. But for those that have yet to get to this point of where I'm at slightly in a maturing phase, take your time with him before you fully give yourself over to him. And those that know, and have found yourself, far away, you're not, just come back, like the story of the lost son. Some call it the prodigal son. Just come back. But anyways, let us get started, and I'm going to pray, and then I'll put my 1 hour on. Abba, I come before you, giving you praise and thanks today, loving you for who you are. You are Elohim, you are God, you are our Abba, our Father, and you are King of Kings. You, Abba, rule heaven and earth. Everything in them belong to you. And I thank you, Father, for having your eyes on us and watching over us and being merciful even in the times that we foolishly don't know we're fools at that time. And you're just waiting, the grace of long suffering. That's the beauty of you, Father. That's something to be grateful for, and I am. And so I just want to praise you for that, Father, for being slow to anger, and you just wait patiently for creation to come back to the right understanding of you, knowing where we're lost at that moment, but always looking out for us even still. And so when things seem to be like, wow, where we look at it as like some type of chance was given to us, like we could have died at a moment, and all of a sudden something, miraculously it didn't happen because your miracle was there. That's still you showing that you have that grace over us. You're still watching over us. You don't want no one to perish. And so even then, Father, when certain things just we don't understand how we got a pardoning for something, that's you. I pray that we all come to that realization so we can understand the love that you have, so we can come back to you and give you the love you deserve as your creation. We should be obedient just the same. Come to know how creation serves you, Father. The stars and the sun, the moon, and everything else, it obeys, within what you set it to do. But it's us, Father. You wait for mankind that you've created in your image and likeness to be like you. We pray that we come to that reverence, that reverencing point where we want to come to know you and have that relationship with you, so we do exactly what it is that pleases you. So I pray for all of us, Father, to love you as much as you love us.
be with us today as we give ourselves over to you in your word. Help us to understand it. Help us to put whatever it is to practice if it's still something that we should know that is meant for today. And help us to always keep it, Father, to retain it, to store it in memory so it never leaves us. I thank you, Abba, and I love you in Yeshua's name. Amen.
Okay, so I'm going to put the 1 hour mark on. Sorry, I didn't get it prepped. But now I got it. There we go. Okay, so we already recapped with that long introduction. So, and now we are to this point where now it's just Noah and his family before Father. Okay, and so I will go back to chapter 8, verse 20, and then move forward from there. At the starting point of verse 20, though, there's already a title that's getting us ready for chapter 9, and it's called God's Covenant with Noah. Okay, so starting at, like I said, verse 20, chapter 8. Noah built an altar to Jehovah, and he took from all the clean livestock and from all the clean birds, and he offered a whole burnt offering on the altar. And Jehovah smelled a sweet smell, and Jehovah pondered it and said, I will never curse the earth further. Okay, so see, we even see how we can even like go into like those thinking moments right here. It shows Father's pondering. He's looking at it and just thinking, pondering it, and said, I will never curse the earth further because of the deeds of humans, because the intention of humankind is focused on what is evil from youth. Therefore, I will proceed to strike all the living flesh no further as I have done. All the days of the earth, seed time and harvest, cold and heat, summer and spring, day and night, will not cease. So that's where I think where it's like Father's like, there's nothing I can do, you know. I had it within my understanding that everything would work exactly the way I was hoping it to. And it doesn't show Father's weakness. Father has great love, but he wants things to do, you know, go about loving him properly without him having to tell, you know. It's just like when we, with our own children, our own spouse, we hope our words mean something for them to be always kept and done right, you know. And so I think that's why Father, he loves it when there's that one person that can show him your words mean a lot, you know, and they prove it. You know, that's why Noah got pardoned and Noah got saved, because he showed Father, like, I know what you want, and I will obey. So that's just my own little take on that before we go forward. Chapter 9. And Jehovah blessed Noah and his sons, and said to them, Increase and multiply, and fill the earth, and exercise dominion over it. And the trembling and fear of you will be upon all the wild animals of the earth, and on all the birds of the heavens, and on all the moving things on the earth, and all the fish of the sea. So here we see something similar to what was said to Adam and Eve in the garden. They were going to have dominion. Okay, so now this is spoken to Noah and the whole family. To do things upon the earth, with the animals. Okay, and the trembling and fear of you will be upon all the wild animals of the earth, and on all the birds of the heavens, and on all the moving things on the earth, and all the fish of the sea. I have put them under your hands, and every moving thing that is living will be yours for food, like grassy vegetables. I give you all things. But you shall not eat meat with the blood of life, for indeed I will seek out your life's blood. Okay, for indeed I will seek out your lifeblood. I will seek it at the hand of all the wild animals, and I will seek the life of the human at the hand of a fellow human. One who sheds the blood of a human shall be shed in place of his blood, because I made humankind in God's image. But as for you, increase and multiply, and fill the earth and multiply upon the earth. Okay, so where we saw from Adam and Eve, we see the same kind of rules given, that apply, where he, telling them to, well, first he gives them permission, that they can have dominion, but then here we have, where Adam and Eve were told, don't do this, don't eat of this one tree of knowledge and wisdom. And now we're seeing rules being applied here as well. So he's letting them know, like, they can have the grassy vegetables, okay, and every moving thing that is living, verse 3, will be yours for food, like grassy vegetables. Now don't get ahead of me. I know some people are like, you see that shows we can have all sorts of that, all the animals as an option to eat. No, no. We will get to the parts where Father gives, stipulations to which ones and which ones you don't. And I mean, we can see it by even the example already given, that Noah already had it in his mind of what was to be offered to Father. So let's keep that also in mind, because remember, when it came down to Noah building an altar, he already knew what things, how to be serving Father. And that was in verse 20 when we first started off. So he took of the clean livestock. Remember what animals came into the ark? 7 clean, and then there were the unclean animals. And he pulled from all the clean sources to be eaten. Okay, so that's also our clue as to what Father moves on to saying that they can have as meat options here, you know, to be eaten. Okay. Verse 3 again, and every moving thing that is living will be yours for food, like grassy vegetables. I give you all things. Okay, so like grassy vegetables, I give you all things. But you shall not eat meat with the blood of life. And see, there's another one right there that should be another clue for us, because some would say, well, see, it could be said or thought on, you know, that all the moving things he's giving to him, like, and him saying, like, is an example unto, you know, like the grassy vegetables, like there's abundant of you know, herbs and whatnot, but not everything that's vegetation or what's grown, you know, that is, you know, from the ground is edible either, you know. So there are certain things that we know today that is food and out of the you know, the fields and the trees and whatnot. I mean, I don't see any of us to go getting poison ivy and say, delicious. So even with that understanding, okay, he's just saying what is grassy vegetables that is a food is the same thing with the animals all over again, that are the right options. I give you all things. Okay. And because, you know, he was already saying what they were going to have dominion. So he was just saying all this thing because they already kind of knew, you know, having been saved, it's not like they forgot. He's just reminding them, now out of all these animals, you know which ones that are yours to eat, you know. And that's why he lists it all over again, the birds and the fish, the wild animals. Okay, verse 4, but you shall not eat meat with the blood of life. Okay, so no drinking of the blood of animals. I barely got an understanding that certain religious groups or that, yeah, they drink blood from their animals, certain spiritual clans. For indeed I will seek out your lifeblood. I will seek it at the hand of all the wild animals. So in a sense, like I said, down the road when we get more into Father's laws, then we will see where like Father talks on like the whole life for life kind of thing. And so he's like basically saying if you're gonna go and drink the blood, you know, then you'll be sought after even by the wild beasts yourselves. It's like, you're gonna respect creation. You're gonna respect them. Life is in their blood just as much as life is in your blood. So don't seek them to drink them. You seek them to, you know, respectably eat them in a sense. Like you're getting what he gives you for food, so you're thanking him for what you got, but you're not going to go seek them for the desires of what Father's saying right there. You're not going to drink their blood. If not, then I will have the wild animals seek after you. And maybe that's where corruption started happening before Noah's time, where certain animals you think today, I look at some animals and they they don't look like you can tame them. You know, Father was saying like you're gonna have dominion over creation. And sometimes you can go to a dog and he starts barking like wild, like, or he even starts to chase you. And even if you tell him stop, don't, something within him is like, it doesn't look like he wants to, like he's going to listen. That's just more or less it. And I think maybe that could be one type of thought as to why certain animals might behave the way they do. Due to where man is still failing and drinking blood of, because we're all connected, despite the fact that we're not all obeying Father, we're all connected in the sense that we even have to try to help each other get back to the right way of thinking. And due to someone else possibly, or other clans that do these things, could set the, Father, these are just thoughts. These are my thoughts with him, why certain animals don't look tameable. They don't look like they're going to obey. Or rather, animals turn. Even animals turn on people and they attack people. Just makes me wonder. Okay, but you shall not eat meat with the blood of life, for indeed I will seek out your lifeblood. I will seek it at the hand of all the wild animals. Like he will give them the privilege as well. And I will seek the life of the human at the hand of a fellow human. So the same thing, we are not to turn on one another. One who sheds the blood of a human shall be shed in place of his blood. Life for life there, because I made humankind in God's image. Okay, so we're made in his image, and so that upsets him. But as for you, increase and multiply, and fill the earth, and multiply upon the earth. Okay, so there we have it, where they got privileges, and then they got consequences. They got rules, what not to be doing. Okay, and that kind of goes with what was said from the Corinthians. Was it no Acts? Something of what was said from Paul to the people where he was at, of what to stay away from. I think this is where he might have got where you've got to stay away from blood. But like I said, everything's down the road. We'll come back. Everything's gonna flood back to our memory when we get to those parts. And so remember when we got there, and then we'll be able to come to these places where we're taking all this in. Okay, verse 8. And Jehovah spoke to Noah and his sons with him, saying, Look, I am establishing my covenant with you and your seed after you, and for every soul living with you, from birds and livestock, and with all the wild animals of the earth, all that are with you, of all those who came out from the ark. And I will establish my covenant with you, and all flesh will no longer die from flood water, and no longer will there be a flood of water to destroy all the earth. And Jehovah said to Noah, This is the sign of the covenant that I am giving between me and you and every living soul that is with you for lasting generations. Wow. kind of seeing something new here. So it's not really Noah and his family that seems to be getting this covenant. Even creation got Father's promises granted to them. So he's made a covenant with all of us. I'll repeat that part. This is the sign of the covenant that I am giving between me and you and every living soul. Okay, so even the animals that is with you for lasting generations. I am placing my rainbow in the cloud. And that is what the rainbow is in truth. Today, like I said, today people want to take things and label it something and think that it's blessed, that it comes from him. And you can hear all the parades in the world saying, thus saith God, or God is with us. This is what that rainbow in our sky truly represents. Okay, so it's a promise. He's put it there to show us that he's making this covenant and he's no longer going to destroy the earth and, any of the creation by water. That's his symbol of promise there. I am placing my rainbow in the cloud, and it will be for a sign of the covenant between me and the earth. Okay? Because, like I said, heaven and earth are his. He can do whatever he wishes for it. That's why he did what he did. He is the creator. Okay, but here he's making this promise to the earth, like, I'm not going to do it this way. Okay. So, and that's why he's making a promise to everybody, because of the fact that heaven and earth and all that dwell in them belong to him, and that's why he said it to everybody. Okay, before I carry on in verse 14, there is a little a, like I said, at the bottom, just to remind everybody where I'm reading from. See here on the bottom, this right here, this little sentence, it goes with another word or a phrase up here. I just need time to find it. Okay, I found it. Okay, and this little a actually should have been with chapter 8. So I don't know if I said it when I was there. So hopefully I did, but just in case I didn't, because it's on this page, where it spoke about, okay, chapter 8, verse 11. Okay, if you go back to the last video, you can see if I said it or did not say it, but I'm saying it here. The dove returned to him toward evening. And the a is by the word evening. And so that little a, it just means or, okay, so it can also state it as in a westerly direction. Okay, so the dove returned to him toward or in a westerly direction. Toward a westerly direction. So I guess wherever the dove was coming back from to Noah is from a westerly direction. So that's how I take it, that's letting us know specifically which angle the bird was seen to be coming from, what direction, westerly. Okay, so carrying on, chapter 9 still, verse 14 now. And this will happen at the time when I collect clouds on the earth. My rainbow will be seen in the cloud, and I will remember my covenant. which is between me and you, and every living soul in all flesh. And the water no longer will become, okay, and the water no longer will become a flood, so as to wipe out all flesh. And my rainbow will be in the cloud, and I will see it to remember a lasting covenant between me and every living soul among all flesh that is on the earth. Okay, so that's his guarantee right there, a lasting covenant. And I will remember, and I will see it to remember a lasting covenant. Okay, verse 17. And Jehovah said to Noah, this is the sign. So see, even right there, we see where the rainbow has its duty. It has its, because everything obeys. So even him placing the rainbow in its position, when it comes, it serves a purpose for him to remind him, remember, you created me, you put me here to remind you, So it's kind of takes me to that one saying, I think it's by John, where he tells, I think the Pharisees, don't quote me on it, you would have to go find it yourself, and I would have to go find it myself, but I think it's where he tells them that, it doesn't matter if you're claiming Abraham as your father, he can raise up these rocks to be his. Even these rocks can take your place. Doesn't matter if you're coming through Abraham. So, like, even rocks, everything has a purpose, and it just makes me think right there, like even here we see the service of the rainbow, where it's even doing good in our behalf to remind Father, like, remember, colorful here, stopping you. Don't let your anger get the best of you. Can't flood the earth, just letting him know you might have to deal with them differently, but you can't flood the earth. So things can take our place, and right here, not that the rainbow's taking anybody's place, but I don't know, he hasn't put someone as a mediator yet, to come talk to him. I don't think, no. Unless Noah was that mediator, I guess. But anyways, we see where even creation right here, the rainbow and its duty, that plays a part to help us out, to remind Father. Let's see here. Verse 17. And Jehovah said to Noah, this is the sign of the covenant that I arranged between me and all flesh that is on the earth. Okay. Now, we're on verse 18, but on the side, it shows for the title, Noah's drunkenness. Okay, so now the sons of Noah who went out from the ark were Shem, Ham, and Japheth. Ham was father of Canaan. These three are the sons of Noah. From these they were scattered about over all the earth. Okay, so we all come from them, we all stem from one of these three. I mean, if you take it further, we all just come from Adam and Eve, truly. And Noah was the first soil-tilling human. Okay, and right here I caught it, which right here on the word tilling, there's a letter A, a little A, and it says literally tiller of soil. So it can be said however, either which way. And Noah was the first soil tilling, or Noah was the first tiller of soil, however you wish to say it. Okay, and I see down here there's going to be a letter B, so hopefully I spot it as I keep going forward. Okay, and Noah was the first soil tilling human, and he planted a vineyard. And he drank some of the wine and was drunk, and stripped naked in his house. Okay, so I just want to bring this part to a different understanding. So this way we can understand, because I know when I read the word, okay, and I always put everything on me because I'm thinking I'll share on this because maybe some might have this same understanding that I once did, and that's why we all help each other with what we share from even our past thoughts and what we've grown from, in maturity. And sometimes we can think that events, when we read them, like they're happening just like this, fast, and one right after the other. But if you really think about it, and if you have had time to learn how to grow a plant, small little house plant inside from seed, it doesn't happen right away. Things take time. Okay, so sometimes when we read the word, don't think that events were happening so quickly. The time was taking, things were taking their time. A baby doesn't grow in a day. It takes time. Okay, so just want that to be kept in mind, because I know when I've read certain things and I'm like, that happened. Wow, that's one right after the other. But it's like, no, things progress, in the good and in the bad, from where they're at. I think I kind of shared that even when it came down to explaining Abel's and Cain's situation, where he was festering on emotions that possibly he just wasn't able, and of course he wasn't able to overcome it, because it finally hit its peak and he murdered his brother. But who knows what jealousy or what he was going through as they were growing up together, as children, and whatever he was storing or holding in his heart towards his brother, hatred, and it was just growing and growing and growing, but didn't happen right away. But I thought to bring that out once again, so we don't just think that, wow, Noah just came out of the ark, he planted a vineyard, grapes, and he drank it that day. Takes time. Things take time to grow. Okay, so within time, he got to drink the wine. He got to drink the wine from the grapes that he planted, or the vineyard that he planted. Anyways, back to it. Verse 20 once again. And Noah was the first soil-tilling human, and he planted a vineyard. Okay. And he drank some of the wine and was drunk, and stripped naked in his house. And Ham, the father of Canaan, saw his father's nakedness. And when he went out, he told his two brothers outside. And Shem and Japheth took the garment and lay it on their two backs, and walked backward, and covered their father's nakedness, and their face was looking backward, and they did not see their father's nakedness. And Noah sobered up from the wine, and found out what his younger son had done to him. And he said, Accursed be Canaan, a household servant he will be to his brothers. And he said, Blessed be Jehovah Eloi of Shem, the Lord God of Shem, and Canaan will be his servant. May Jehovah make room for Japheth. Let him dwell in the house of Shem, and let Canaan be their servant. Okay, there's a lot going on here. Like I said, from where I once read the word, one could take it just as I had, where Ham, it kind of seems like the same thing we read towards Sodom and Gomorrah kind of thing, where men sleeping with men and women. Of course, that's still further down the road when we get to that topic. And it can seem to be that, and depending on what type of corruptions came, again, from Noah's time when everybody was still alive and that corruption was happening, what was going on there, we don't have a full understanding of it yet. But it can be read as if Ham did something with their dad, because of the fact that we right away get to seeing the fact that Noah, when he drank the wine, he stripped naked. So you could take it at, with that understanding, because he was naked. And then as you read further, that Ham saw his nakedness. Okay, and there's that thought. But when we get into the laws, okay, when we finally get into Leviticus and all the laws that are there, and Numbers, Deuteronomy, and all that, where we see more of certain, the laws that came because of what Father can see in man's hearts, and that's why we can read about them. What other thought can be said of Ham and the nakedness of his father, and it not being so much on what could be thought towards his dad. And the one person that possibly kind of will get you to see where it's more towards Noah's wife, Ham's mother, is on the name of Canaan, because we know that Ham is the father of Canaan. Ham was father of Canaan. Okay, that's where we can see in verse 18, Ham was father of Canaan. And so who knows? But like I said, we will get back to this thought when we read about those laws when it comes down to incest. Okay, now I understand that he does have his own wife because it does say that Noah and his wife and his sons and their wives came out. But who knows if it could also be still in the fact that he slept with his mom and now his dad being upset. Okay, like I said, things don't happen quick. So depending on the birth of Canaan and the remembrance of the whole situation, who knows how far, of course, 9 months later, could this have been said possibly by Noah upon, Ham's son Canaan being the servant of the uncles. Okay, it's just, these are possibilities. Who knows? Could he have slept with his dad? Could he have not? And just slept with his mom? And then, of course, when we get into Leviticus and we're reading about don't uncover your mother's nakedness, that's why we can see the two. And of course, it does talk about don't even see your father's nakedness. But it's something it's just something to wonder on, what happened. It can be, in many directions. Was it the dad? Was it the mom? But we're not to look at but see, in the laws, it talks about, like, don't look upon your father's nakedness, and that's in reference to not him being naked. It also is in reference to his wife. That is his nakedness. And so that's where it could also be a possibility. So anyways, we do see where Shem and Japheth walk backwards and they cover, depending on who is the one that's naked here, the mom or the dad. Who knows? And then because of the fact that he curses this Canaan, the son of Ham, could be the fact that it was the mom that this happened with. That's just a thought. And like I said, and who knows when this statement by Noah happened. After birth, of course, when he sees that the child doesn't look like him, but of course, who knows if when he sobered up, if the sons told him of the brother's behavior, what happened, and when he found that out, and then all of a sudden she's not, she becomes pregnant. I don't know. There's so much thoughts to be had here. But anyways, let's carry on, because that can keep you there for a while, especially, like I said, when knowing of the laws now. But I feel bad. I'm sorry to the ones that are still, if you haven't gotten through the whole word, through the whole Bible, you don't know where I'm coming from in what I'm saying. But anyways, let's carry on. We will come back to this thought when we reach those laws. Okay, verse 28. Okay, Noah lived for 350 years after the flood. And all the days of Noah were 950 years, and he died. Okay, now we have chapter 10, and on the side of it, it says, for the title, Noah's Descendants. These now are the generations of the sons of Noah, Shem, Ham, Japheth. And sons were born to them after the flood. The sons of Japheth were Gomer and Magog and Medai and Javan and Elisha and Tabal and Meshech and Tiraz. And the sons of Gomer were Ashkenaz and Riphath and Tothgama. No, not Toth. Thorgama. And the sons of Javan were Elisha and Tarshish, Kittim, Rodanim, and this is where the letter B is at, found it. And it says Rodanim is more likely associated with the Greeks than the unknown Hebrew Dodanim, and so may be original. And so may be original. And so may be original. I don't know. If it's Greek or more on Greek understanding of the name than the Hebrew. But I don't know. That's just a name for now. Okay, and those were the sons of Javan. Okay, now verse 5. The islands of the nations were marked off from these on their land. Okay, the islands of the nations were marked off from these on their land, each according to their tongue, in their tribes and their nations. Okay, so we see that wherever the area is at, it was associated to them and their family. That's how the land started to get split up into all these families. Okay, the sons of Ham were Cush and Egypt. The sons of Ham were Cush and Egypt. Put and Canaan. Okay. I never knew that Ham had a son named Egypt. Interesting. ing. I'll have to go later on and check that out by a different version. Unless it's always been there, but I just never caught it. But, okay, so, yeah. So the sons of Ham were Cush and Egypt, Put, and Canaan. Okay. The sons of Cush were Sheba and Havilah and Zapta and Ramah and Zapteka. The sons of Ramah were Sheba and Dedan. Cush fathered Nimrod. He was the first to be a giant on the earth. He was a mighty hunter before Jehovah. Because of this, they will say, as Nimrod was a mighty hunter before the Lord. So I guess that's like a popular expression that's, lived over time. That saying right there. As Nimrod was a mighty hunter before Jehovah. And we say it today when we read it. Verse 10. And the beginning of his kingdom became Babylon and Erech and Akkad and Calneh in the land of Shinar. From that land he went out to Assyria and built Nineveh and the city of Rehoboth and Kala, and Resen between Nineveh and Kala. This is the great city. And Egypt fathered the Lidians and the Nephthalim and the Anamim and the Lehabim and the Pathrusim and the Casluhim, from whom the Philistines came, and the Cretans. Canaan fathered Sidon, his firstborn, and the Hittite, and the Jebusite, and the Amorite, and the Girgashite, and the Hivite, and the Archite, and the Sinite, and the Arvadite, and the Zemarite, and the Hamathite. After this, the tribes of the Canaanites were scattered around. So they were like everywhere, and the tribes of the Canaanites were scattered around. And the boundaries of the Canaanites were from Sidon until one comes to Gerar and Gaza, until one comes to Sodom and Gomorrah. Okay, so this would be better, of course, on a map to show where all these, due to the, to the family name, where these these cities and all that come about because of them. Till one comes to Sodom and Gomorrah, Admah and Zeboim, as far as Dasa. Of course, names have changed today from way back when. So, but this would be like on a map of where these are located, where the family started. These are the sons of Ham, and their tribes according to their tongues, in their territories, and in their nations. See, so that'd be placed on a map. And to Shem was born children, even to him, the father of all the sons of Eber, the brother of Japheth the Great. Okay. The sons of Shem, sorry, I gotta pop up real quick. Down. Okay, the sons of Shem were Elam, and Assyria, and Arpachshad, and Lud and Aram. And the sons of Aram were Uz, and Hul, and Gether, and Meshech, and Arpachshad fathered Canaan, and Canaan fathered Shelah, fathered Eber, and to Eber was brought forth 2 sons. The name of the first was Peleg, because in his days the earth was divided. And the name of his brother was Joktan. Joktan brought forth Almoded, and Shelef, and Hazarmaveth, and Jerah, and Hadoram, and Uzal, and Diklah, and Abimael, and Sheba, and Ophir, and Havilah, and Jobab. All these are the sons of Joktan, and their dwelling was from Massa until coming to Ophir, Ophir, a mountain of the east. These are the sons of Shem in their tribes, according to their tongues, in their territories, and in their nations. These are the tribes of the sons of Noah, according to their generations, according to their nations. From these the islands of the nations were scattered about on the earth after the flood. So I don't know if that's where it has been shown, through school, where the continents or whatever were one, they were formed once. And then after the great, the flooding, then all of a sudden they bridged out. And that takes care of our study time, and perfect because it ends chapter on chapter 10, and we're already ready for chapter 11. But that's kind of what it seems to me. From these the islands of the nations were scattered about on the earth after the flood. Like, that's how we got them spread out. And I've always looked at the map like a puzzle, like if they were just to be clustered all together at one point, and how they all broke off. So that's what's coming to my head by that, anyways. But anyways, that takes care of our study today, and I hope it gave much thought to consider for those that have, already gone through the word, and you already kind of know where I'm kind of coming from in my own thoughts to certain parts. Can make you go and rethink on something if you never saw it that way, or go and, possibly just if you wish to go, reconfirm what you probably already had thought. I don't know, this is where you just all connect and where we come from our insights, and I hope that you all be patient, you'll get there eventually. I'm talking to the ones now that don't know where I'm coming from and where I was sharing all that, but it's gonna get that much more interesting when we finally get to those points, and it's gonna come back like, oh, okay, especially if you're brand new at just coming to Father and getting started with reading with him. But may you all just be blessed and keep your hunger for him always there, and never stop learning of him. Never stop, because you come to something, I don't know, he gives you, like I said, when you keep on reading, different thoughts and conversations with him just make things that much more like, could that possibly be? Like, wow. But then, like I said, look out for when you come to gatherings with your, family and Messiah and the kingdom family, and you start to hear, certain things by them. So you start to confirm certain things that you came to, and it's amazing. This walk with him is amazing if we just learn to pay attention. He's always speaking. And that's taken me a lot. And I still have to work at knowing how he speaks to me. I'm still learning him. But anyways, I hope this was insightful and joyful, to glean and to hear and to learn with one another. I will close this out in prayer. We are in chapter 11 for next time. Father Yahweh, I come before you giving you praise and thanks for what it is that we got to see by your words today.
today, what I got to see is how it kind of started all over with what was kind of spoken to Adam and Eve, giving, permission to eat and to do certain things, be what you obey what you tell them to obey. And then all of a sudden you did tell them there was one thing you warned not to do. And so now we see the same situation. Noah and the family got told that they can take dominion and they get your, blessings by that and can eat. But then here came your warnings as to what happens if they do certain things, and they disobey. And so it's amazing, Father, just to see how you're always wanting us to do what is right. And you say it over and over and over for us to pay attention. So I hope that we glean from what you have always stated doesn't change. We are to look into these matters so this way we are not erring by the same things that we see from these examples and then wonder why is it that either we feel you're distant from us or certain things are happening, but it could be due to the fact that we just haven't caught on and paid attention to the things that were said, so repetitive, and we've just gone away of saying our own version of you, of what we hoped to be said by you, and yet we didn't take much effort to look at your repetitive words, that it wasn't so the whole time. So I just thank you for your insights, Father. Please be with everybody that, studies along with me and keep them encouraged and be with them always, Father. And I pray that you're cleansing them, Father, from the inside out, that baptism of their heart, transforming their hearts, Father. So this way they can write your words on their hearts and keep them stored and locked in forever remembrance to them. So when they're ready to give themselves over, Father, they're ready, they're set, and they know what it is to serve you right by. I thank you, Father, for having brought me this far in what I'm starting to understand. I pray my maturity is looking good before you, and keep me in your ways, Father. Keep growing me to your image and likeness. In Yeshua's name, Father, I love you. Amen. You all have a great, wonderful week, and I will see you once again. Love you all.